Like, yeah, there you go. I was going to bring that up, too. And that's why they do that. I think that it's 8 teams, and I think that they let that one team kind of squeak in because once you get to the playoffs, I think once you get to the playoffs, regular season doesn't count. Screw the record. Screw all that other stuff. Let's go. Let's play 7 games. Let's see who the better team is. I don't care if you're the first seed or the 8th seed.
Mind if I say something real quick? Then why does the regular season matter at all then? Why even have a regular season if it doesn't matter once you get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the thing I look at. I'm not trying. I'm just.
Well,
curious.
you can say that to any sport then. Why have a regular season in football? Why have a regular season in baseball?
Because in football, only 12 of the 32 teams make the playoffs, and so you use the regular season to decide who those 12 are. But if you're having half the teams, why don't you just cut down?
Weren't half the teams in the NFL playoffs like 3 or 4 of them 8-8?
No, only one was, and it was a really.
Or like
it was a really
maybe like 1 over. Like
9-7, you mean? Cardinals were 9-7.
Yeah, and then you.
But at least that's a winning record.
But hold on, there's also only 16 games in the NFL. That's way different than going 41-41.
But the point I'm making though is just that, for the most part, that's how you differentiate it. But if you're saying that, but if we're letting in half the league, especially since I've been reading about how the NBA is in dire financial straits, cut down the league to 16 teams and just go ahead and have your playoffs right away. Regular season doesn't matter.
Like a college, like the NCAA tournament.
If that's what if the regular season doesn't matter, why not? You can't. You only have enough money to run 16 teams anyway.
The NBA is not in dire straits or anything like that. Don't get that twisted.
They're hurt. They are. I mean, everybody's hurting.
Everybody's hurting right now because of just how the economy is. But I wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like. Well, the WNBA had to suspend some teams.
And the AFL shut down completely. So, tell me the NBA can't fall too.
I'm not saying the NBA can't fall, but I'm just saying it's not going to happen in our lifetime.
I think the bottom line.
Yeah, we kind of strayed from the point.
No, I think the bottom line is just in short. I'm not going to go into depth. Honestly, I think it needs to be 6 teams from each league. I really, really do. And you know what? Because to support Doug's argument a little bit, I think because if you're going to go with, I'm taking the word you said of, in my opinion, the playoffs, the regular season, throw it out, it doesn't matter. I think a team that works their butt off and dominates and goes straight through the Western or the Eastern Conference and finishes 66 and 16 or 65 and 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they deserve a bye. Why make them play 7 games in the first round? Give them a bye. If you have 6 teams, you have to have a bye, obviously. So I think the top 4 seeds, the 2 from each, should get a bye in the first round and have 3, 6, and 4 and 5 play. I think 8 teams is too many. A team that loses more than they win should not be in the playoffs.
All right. Well,
counterpoint.
Here's the one thing against that. If you look back in the history of the finals, the Western Conference is typically done before the Eastern Conference is. So you're having the Lakers last year, I think, had a full week off before Boston did.
Because Boston went to 7.
Yeah,
that's not any. That's
so if you give the first 4 top teams or whatever it is that first round bye, and they're not playing, and they go up against a 3 seed that's been playing last week and that knows what it's like to keep on to not have all that time off, and they're ready to go against a team that's rested. The team that's ready to go will win 9 times out of 10.
You know why they're going to get so much time off? This is my other argument. Because they have way too many days off in the playoffs.
Well, it's
45% of the games played during the regular season are back-to-back. You're going to tell me that they can't play back-to-back games when they're in the same site? Ridiculous. Completely. A fact that a one playoff series takes almost 2 weeks? Ridiculous.
Well, they do that so they can have each, like, the Eastern Conference gets Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and the Western Conference gets the other days.
Ridiculous, especially when it switches to 2-3-2. You can play. Okay,
it's 2-2-1-1-1.
No, until the finals.
No, it's 2-2-1-1-1.
But okay. So to that I say, let's take the Cleveland and let's just say it's Cleveland and the Magic, and it's 2-2-1-1-1. You're going to tell me that you can't play the 2 games back to back in Cleveland, have a travel day like in baseball, play the 2 in Orlando, have an off day, and then have the off days between the switching.
I'm not disagreeing with you on the fact that they should play back-to-back games.
Yeah, I just think
the Bulls have Thursday and Sunday at Chicago, and then the next game.
Did you say Thursday and Sunday?
Yeah,
ridiculous.
And then the next game is Tuesday.
Is this the most passionate I've been about anything so far, Doug?
Celtics. Yeah, it's 2-2-1-1-1.
You're kind of like this every week.
But no, I like
Thanks for that. That was an insult.
I'll say this and then we'll kind of like close this out because I think there's still one or two other things that you guys have to talk about.
Yeah, we gotta get around to some other stuff.
But I love the fact that there are 8 teams. I love the fact that there's still those teams that are under 500 that get that chance to come out and do it because it does happen to where those teams beat the number 1 seeds. And then I say to you, like, you know, when Dallas lost to Golden State was a better team than Dallas. They were. Those 7 games, they were a better team. Now, if you're the number 1 seed, you need to make sure that you are better than everybody else every game. And Dallas didn't do that. And Golden State came in, and they did it. I think Dallas shouldn't have been in the playoffs those years. Dallas did not show up to the playoffs the year they lost to Golden State. So if you're going to argue to saying that a team under 500 should not make it into the playoffs, I say then why the heck is a team that was 66 games that year not showing up when they should have and they lost?
They can lose just as good to a 4th seed than they can to an 8th seed.
Yeah. Exactly. So
anybody and then that under 500 team can get swept.
So then the under 500 team doesn't make it the playoffs, and the 4th seed gets to take out the number 1 seed because they didn't show up. Yeah. Regular season earns you the playoff berth. If you don't show up for the playoffs, then you don't get the championship. I'm not saying you should get the championship in the regular season.
And it does go because people love to see the underdog win. Yeah. People want to see the 8th seed win.
And one thing you kept saying is that it always will be, and it always has been, always will be, and that's probably true.
It will always be 8 teams. The NBA playoffs will never, ever, ever get a first round bye.
But that's a money thing, though. That's not a competition thing.
For sure, I 100% agree. 100%.
They're doing it because you can get more money out of it, sell more games, and that's
why they went from
5
to 7.
That's why it won't change. But I personally, in my opinion, and I'm actually against both of you on this, I think it should only be 4 teams. I don't even think it should be 6. Screw it. I don't think the NFL should be 6 teams.
If they want to shorten it, add more games. Add more regular season games.
Or maybe just diversify your games a bit more or something. I don't know.
Add more games, and then I might agree with you. But with if you want to talk about shortening the playoffs for the NBA with the amount of games and how it's set up now, I think it's ridiculous.
Well, then you can play into May and then do 4 teams.
Yeah, add more games.
That'd be fine with me. Wouldn't make any difference to me, really.
Yeah, then make them play like 130 games or something like that, and then
that's never going to happen in basketball.
Yeah, it never will.
This all never will happen. This is all hypothetical on our part.
Oh, of course.
All right. Well, that was a spirited discussion.
That was fun.
It was.
So we got one last thing we need to cover, and that's our weekly top 5 list. Mike, I'm sorry that I didn't give you forewarning about this, and you're just gonna have to.
I can make one up real quickly if you want.
You don't know. Well, it's a NASCAR-related one.
Screw you.
So we're just going to try to do it, and
you can
comment. You can chime in.
Okay.
If you won't know what we're talking about, you can chime in.
Lightning McQueen is my number 1 driver.
Get some. All right. This week I personally thought after Saturday's race, which was such a popular win because Mark Martin is so popular. Not so much in the sense of like Dale Earnhardt Jr. is popular.
We did say Derrick Rose won the rookie
year.
Yeah,
we did.
Yes,
we mentioned it. We mentioned it. That we're going to talk about some of our favorite races that we've ever seen that were popular amongst ourselves. Now, this isn't all time because I've only been watching for about 9 years, and you've been watching for like 11. So, I mean, it hasn't. These are races we've seen.
So this is all time in the relation of our lives.
Pretty much, yeah.
My favorite race I've ever seen was the one at the end of Days of Thunder.
That movie is so
basically
inaccurate.
we're doing top 5 most popular races.
Yeah, just
all time
races that we highly enjoyed, that we remember. That if you asked me what my favorite race I've ever seen was, I'll tell you, this race. I think I went first last week, so I think this week is your turn.
Okay, so
number 5.
I do have an honorable mention, but we'll go there later.
We don't know if we have time for honorable mentions. We got like 9 minutes.
My number 5 is quite honestly a race that you didn't watch because you didn't watch NASCAR then. My number 5 is the 1998 Napa Auto Parts 500 at Martinsville.
Okay, explain. First race you saw or something like that?
No, actually it's not. And this is what's really interesting. I can't quite describe it. I don't know if you've read about this, but this is the race where they interviewed Ricky Rudd laying down in victory lane with the paramedics.
Oh, this is the one where he was like really, he had like heat exhaustion.
It was 100 degrees that day. And,
I read about it.
It's very hard to describe to me. It's just when I was sitting down making this list and thinking about races I remember, I will never forget that race.
Gotcha.
It's hard to articulate the fact that Ricky Rudd was a single car owner, had kept his winning streak of seasons going. It was just a very exciting. It was a very Mark Martin was battling that day.
It was a very popular win. It was a very feel good win.
And not just that, but I'll just never forget it.
Get some.
I like that insightful get some. My number 5 is kind of similar in the sense